Welcome to LectureCast-SMT, a new series about giving AI agents something they conspicuously lack, a left brain. I am Bailing Zhang. Over 8 short episodes we will meet SMT solvers, and one solver in particular called Z3, and we will see how they turn a talented but unreliable language model into an agent you can actually trust with rules, money, and machinery. This first episode sets up the central idea of the whole series in plain language. No formulas today, and no code. Just one architectural idea that, once you see it, you will start seeing everywhere. Let us start with an honest compliment. Large language models are genuinely astonishing. They draft, they summarize, they write working code, they hold a conversation better than most software ever has. If your task is open-ended, they are magnificent improvisers. But now hand that improviser a rulebook. A tax code. A medication protocol. The safety manual of an industrial plant. Something changes, and it is worth naming precisely what. Fluency is not correctness. A language model can produce an answer that sounds completely authoritative while quietly violating the very rules it cites. Under the hood it is predicting plausible next words, and plausibility has no concept of must. Nothing in the architecture says this constraint shall not be broken. In everyday use that is a nuisance. In high-stakes domains it is disqualifying, because those domains punish near misses. 98% right on payroll is still an underpaid worker. The most dangerous output is not silence, it is a confident, fluent, well-formatted wrong answer. Here are the 2 failure shapes we will keep returning to, both drawn from systems I have actually built. First, the rulebook case. Ask a language model to compute someone's pay under an Australian industrial award, base rate, casual loading, Saturday penalty rates, minimum engagement periods, overtime thresholds. These clauses interact in intricate ways, and the model interpolates. It produces a number that looks reasonable. But skip one interacting clause and you have silently underpaid a worker, and no one notices until an audit does. Second, the physical case. Ask an agent to propose control setpoints for a wastewater treatment plant, or an insulin dose for a person with diabetes. A proposal can read perfectly sensibly as text and still sit outside the physical or clinical safety envelope. The model has no idea where that envelope is. Different consequences, same root cause. A language model is a probabilistic engine. It contains no machinery for hard constraints, so it cannot guarantee that any rule is respected. Not because it is badly trained, but because guaranteeing was never what it does. Psychologists have a famous mental model for human thinking, popularized by Daniel Kahneman, 2 systems. System 1 is fast, intuitive, and associative. It recognizes faces, finishes sentences, and leaps to conclusions, usually good ones. System 2 is slow and deliberate. It checks arithmetic, follows a legal argument, and works through consequences step by step. Here is the mapping that drives this entire series. In an AI agent, the language model is System 1, a superb intuition engine that answers by plausibility. And the SMT solver is the best System 2 engine we know how to build, a reasoning engine that answers by derivation, step by step, with every step checkable. Notice what this framing rules out. It is not a competition. Nobody thinks well using only intuition, and nobody thinks well using only deliberate logic. Human intelligence works because the 2 systems cooperate, each covering the other's blind spots. The claim of this series is simple: agent intelligence can be built the same way. So let us meet the left brain properly. SMT stands for Satisfiability Modulo Theories. Strip away the jargon and the job description is simple: You hand the solver a set of logical constraints, and it decides whether they can all hold at the same time. If yes, it hands you a concrete solution. If no, it can prove that no solution exists. Z3, built at Microsoft Research, is the de facto standard SMT solver. This is not academic shelfware. Z3 verifies compilers, device drivers, and security protocols in production, every day, at some of the largest software companies on Earth. Two things make it ideal for agents. First, its verdicts. SAT means a valid answer exists, and here it is. Unsat means no valid answer can exist, provably. Unknown means the solver ran out of budget, and honest systems plan for that too. Second, its vocabulary. The modulo theories part means Z3 natively understands integers, real numbers, arrays, and functions. Wages, doses, timestamps, inventories. Exactly the things agents get wrong. And keep this one property in mind, when Z3 says unsat, that is a mathematical proof. Not a confidence score. A proof. Here is the analogy I want you to keep for the rest of the series. Think of the language model as a courtroom advocate. Eloquent, creative, endlessly persuasive. Give it any brief and it will build the best possible case from whatever material it has. And, like any good advocate, it will argue with total confidence even when the case is weak. That is not a flaw in an advocate, it is the job. Z3 is the judge. Completely unmoved by rhetoric. It does not care how fluent the argument sounded. It checks every claim against the written statute, the constraints we have encoded, and it rules exactly once. And when it rules against you, it can do something remarkable, it can cite the precise clauses the violation rests on. No legal system would let advocates decide verdicts. A courtroom needs both roles, kept separate. So does a trustworthy agent. This brings us to the architectural pattern at the heart of everything. Neural proposes, symbolic vetoes. Watch how a request flows through it. A human states an intent in natural language. The language model does what it is brilliant at, it translates messy human language into a concrete, structured proposal. A pay calculation. A control action. A plan. But, and this is the crucial move, the proposal is not executed. It is handed to the verification gate, where Z3 checks it against every constraint we have encoded, the award clauses, the safety envelope, the business rules. 2 doors out. If every constraint is satisfied, the proposal passes and executes, now carrying a guarantee no language model alone could ever give you. If any constraint is violated, the proposal is vetoed, and the solver reports exactly which rules were broken, so the agent can repair the proposal rather than just apologize. Notice the division of labor. The language model handles natural language, and only natural language. Every decision that actually matters flows through the verified symbolic layer. The advocate argues, the judge decides. I want to be clear that none of this is a thought experiment. This pattern is running today, in systems my group has built and deployed, across 4 families that this series will open up one by one. Family 1, Knowledge Base Linting. Compile business rules into constraints and let Z3 find the contradictions before any agent acts on them. Our running example will be Australian award pay rules, where clauses genuinely do conflict. That is episode 4. Family 2, Safety Guardrails. Encode the physical and regulatory envelope, and check every proposed control action against it. Wastewater treatment. Regulated fuel storage. Episode 5. Family 3, Plan verification. Do not just check single actions, verify whole plans and simulated futures, including clinical trajectory limits like time below range in glucose control. Episode 6. And Family 4, the verified knowledge layer, where SMT underwrites the consistency dimension of what we call 4C verification inside an LLM wiki. Correct, consistent, current, complete. Episode 7. Every example you will see comes from a deployed research system. Real constraints, real conflicts, real vetoes. Before the enthusiasm runs away with us, let me put the caveats on the table now, in Episode 1, because a series about trustworthy systems should itself be trustworthy. First, the modeling gap. Z3's guarantees are absolute, but they are guarantees about your constraints, not about the world. If a safety rule never made it into the constraint set, Z3 cannot enforce it. Verification is exactly as complete as the model of the world you wrote down, and no more. Second, constraints have authors. Encoded rules can be wrong, stale, or too strict. A gate that is too tight blocks perfectly good proposals, one that is too loose lets bad ones through. Calibrating that boundary is a genuine research problem, and we will treat it as one. Third, budgets are real. Some problems are expensive, and a solver can time out an answer unknown. A production system needs a policy for that third verdict, not just for SAT and unsat. So the honest slogan is this: the solver never lies, but the model might. Episode 8 is devoted entirely to living with that fact. Here is the road ahead, organized around one spine: model, solve, explain, guard. First we learn to model the world as constraints, then to solve them, then to make the solver explain its rulings, and finally to guard live agents with all of it. Episodes 2 and 3 build your working vocabulary, how a solver actually thinks, and the 10 Z3 constructs that cover 90% of practice. Episodes 4, 5, and 6 are the deployed case studies, linting knowledge bases, guarding physical systems, and verifying plans. Episode 7 connects everything back to LLM wikis and 4C verification. And Episode 8 closes with the patterns, the pitfalls, and where this field is heading. You do not need to be a logician for any of it. If you follow today's episode, you are ready for all 8. Let me leave you with 3 ideas. 1. AI is bigger than the large language model. Generative models are one half of intelligence, the intuitive half. Symbolic reasoning is not legacy technology, in the agent era it is the missing half. 2. Guarantees come from architecture, not from prompts. You cannot prompt your way to safety. Reliability comes from routing every decision that matters through a layer that can actually prove things. And 3, the equation this whole series unpacks: a probabilistic proposer plus a deterministic verifier equals a trustworthy agent. Next time, in Episode 2, we look inside the judge's head, how a solver actually thinks, from SAT to SMT, told entirely through intuition, without a single formula. See you then.